Hello everyone, it's been a while, and with the most recent school shooting there is a lot of talk on both sides of the fence as far as our right to self-defense. Mainstream media is pushing this false idea that there have been 18 school shootings since the start of the year. I've only heard of one or two in the news. Everything else doesn't count as a school shooting. It's only used as a false statistic to help push their narrative of gun confiscation. We cannot allow what they're talking about. Some networks are even talking about repealing the Second Amendment. This cannot happen. We have a right to self-defense as a people, whether it is against other criminals or whether it is against government. We cannot allow a constitutional convention to come in and change the supreme law of the land and take away our right to defend ourselves. If California was to succeed in seceding from the Union, they would become a tyrannical state overnight. There would no longer be a Second Amendment, and there would no longer be a 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause. What makes me say this? There are 44 states in our Union that also recognize our right to keep and bear arms and to defend ourselves. There are 6 states that do not have such a provision. California is one of them. The other 5 are Iowa, Minnesota, Maryland, New York, and New Jersey. So if California secedes from the Union, there is no longer a Second Amendment protection for those who are armed, and there is no provision in their state constitution to protect the right to keep and bear arms. They would be a despotic state nearly overnight. Your freedom would be gone. California would become a communist country. Maybe not very quickly, but it will happen. We cannot allow the idea of the Second Amendment being repealed. We cannot allow Congress to introduce a resolution that would amend the Constitution to repeal or weaken the Second Amendment. We cannot allow, should they succeed in introducing that resolution and getting 2/3 of each House to vote on it, we cannot allow the states to ratify such an amendment. We've got to stay on top of this. If such a resolution gets introduced, help put a stop to it. Because if we lose our Second Amendment, we lose all the other amendments with it. And don't listen to any talk about people saying, it's outdated, it only applies to muskets. That is so far from the truth, it's not funny. That's a restriction on government, and it is a restriction in place for good reason. Our founding fathers understood that governments degrade and become more and more powerful and seek only more power from there until they lord it over the people and crush them. We've seen it happen several times already in the 20th century with other nations, but no one's talking about it, so the average person doesn't hear about it. Now social media is abuzz with, we must repeal the Second Amendment, and various media outlets are starting to say the same thing. This is not the solution. This will lead to our demise as a free country, and the rounding up of dissidents will happen because history repeats. Please do not allow this to happen. Do not allow it to happen on the state level either. If your state recognizes your right to keep and bear arms, fight to keep that in place. That's all I have for now. I hope you have a good rest of the day.